Okay, peace and blessings, everyone. So, so the topic for today is why is it important to understand the role of God in order to thrive in life? Isn't it, Mr. Yeah. So let's let's explore that today. Let's see what comes up for you. What comes up for you, Mr. Mellon, when you ask that question to yourself? What comes up for you? Because
Well,
everybody
I
wants to
think,
thrive. Okay? That's
yes,
common. Yeah. But why is it important that they should understand the role of God?
yes. I mean, from, yeah, what comes up for me is Jalal and Jamal. That's where the beauty and the majesty. And why I'm saying this is because often we see only one side of that, we only see maybe Allah or God's mercy. We only see the beauty. And even maybe some people who are listening may wonder, well, if you're not a believer, or why does God do that if on the other side? And my understanding is that it has both sides, and when we understand uh, his role in both the beauty and the mercy and everything like that, and his role as well in the Jalal is like the power of Allah, the power of God in everything um, that's happening. And in nature, maybe it's easy to see, I don't know, like a volcano, you know,
Mhm.
that could be one manifestation of this. Um, but things that we may think, oh, it's not good for me, you know. So it's
Mm.
things like that. That's what comes up first.
Mm. Mm. Let's this is beautiful. Jalal and Jamal. So these are the two ways of describing in the Quran. God has so there are 99 names of God which we are aware of as human beings, but he has more than 99 names. Uh, we could say these names are the way to understand him. These are his qualities. So the only way we can understand God is through the way he described himself. So so in this whole series, the whole intent of this podcast series is to pick elements from how God describes it, and not from purely human perspective, our opinions, our beliefs. It's to see from God's perspective. That's the intent. So today, being the topic to understand his role, we need to understand him. And the way we understand him from the Quranic perspective, what you're saying, Mr. Merlin, is these are the two ways the Almighty God has described himself. There are some attributes of his, which is, we could say it as Jalal, and Jalal, the translation for that would be, did you say majesty? Did you say power? Yeah,
Mm.
the unstoppable one. Yeah, we could say that unstoppable, the ultimate power. Okay. Um, and Jamal, and the translation for Jamal would be what, Sister Madeline, in English? What would you say will be an accurate word? Would you say
Beauty,
beauty? Beauty, yeah,
yes.
yeah, beauty. Would you say mercy? Um, Mercy, yeah. So we could say um, one is is talking about um, his like you brought in the element of things. We really see how he's in charge.
Mm.
Okay, like
Mm.
you said, volcano. We don't really understand the wisdom behind volcano. Okay, so that's an example of how that is in action. It manifests in nature, like wars, we could say, are things which is beyond our control. There has been wars from the time human beings existed. Okay, so again, something which happens, and he has there's wisdom behind that. These are things beyond our control. Um, uh,
Yes.
and and so why does something happen? Like we will never know the answer. We will never know the answer. So the absolute knowledge is with the Almighty God, which is which is his attribute. We will never have the absolute knowledge. We never have the absolute knowledge. That's a humility to understand.
Mhm.
But we think we should have knowledge. We should know, there's need to know of human beings. We have this need to know. So, so
Maybe even further, we live at a time when we are in the illusion of knowledge because we get a lot of information.
mm,
And when it comes to wars or to,
mm,
anything that's happening in the world, we think because we see it, we know.
yes,
Is it the same though? So maybe that's one
yes,
of the questions we want to ask ourselves.
yes. So what you're saying, Sima, the way I'm hearing what you're saying is we have a lot of information
Mm,
in today's time. We have access to a crazy amount of information, but to make sense of information, we need wisdom.
that's
And
right.
that's from him. That's
Mhm.
from him. That's his quality. Okay. The information by itself is of no use. In fact, it adds to the confusion, misinterpretation, misunderstandings when we don't see it in perspective, etc. So, so I think it takes humility to understand that we don't run the world. It takes humility to see wisdom a little bit common, very, very commonsensical. It's not complicated.
Mhm.
I don't even run my body.
Yes,
Yeah. I
that's
don't
very
do
powerful.
anything,
Yes.
isn't it, Mel? I don't do anything to keep myself alive. I
Hmm.
haven't done till now, from the time I'm born to now, I haven't done anything to keep myself alive. In fact, I do things which can be detrimental to my existence. Like I do some crazy things which comes in the way of my physical health and my mental health. Okay. But however, I don't even run my body. So just to see that, just to see that we are not in charge. However, somebody else is, because there is a beautiful order of things. It's just happening, okay? Night and
Hmm.
day. Um, sunshine, rain, thunderstorm. Like we could just say, we can go on and on and on. The birth cycle, death and life. There's this beautiful order of things, like which when we start to see, now these are things which it needs perspective to see that there is an order of things and things are moving in such beautiful fashion. Okay,
Hmm.
the earth rotating, etc. Okay, the scientists been talking about it, and we so science reveals some of these which are facts now, of how there is an order of everything, which is again commonsensical, which we are beginning to understand now. But who runs it? We don't. We don't. So when we understand that we are not in charge, we don't run the world, we don't run our own body, to even think for a minute that I'm in charge of my life. I have to be in charge. Okay. It's a lot of burden.
Absolutely.
It's a lot of burden. It's like the bird trying to uh, fly by relying on its feathers, which I don't think birds do that.
Mm,
They just fly, okay? And there are lots of kindness which helps them fly. There's this beautiful system, the divine design. So we're going to call this the divine design, okay? The
yeah.
the things which is happening, okay? The order of things. We are going to call this the divine design of the body, divine design of earth, etc. So when we don't um, step into the space of the divine design, when we don't go against the divine design, we flow with it. We flow with it. It's like working with gravity versus working without gravity. Yeah.
Yes.
Um, we know gravity is impersonal. It doesn't matter what I believe in it. Do I like it? Do I understand it? It just exists. So if I work against gravity, the law of gravity, I'm going to fall. It doesn't matter because it's not personal. It's how it is. So it helps when we work with the divine
Yeah.
design, okay, like gravity, etc. There was a time when I used to work in the night, work in the night and sleep in the morning, and that messed up my body clock. We are not
Mm,
made that way, okay? So that messed up with my body clock. That's not the divine design. Night is meant to be for sleeping, and day is meant to be to stay awake. So I realized I couldn't do that for a very long time. So there are so many beautiful examples around us just to see when we work with the divine design, it we flow with ease. There's there's we don't have to work hard to thrive in life. Thriving happens by default. Okay? Like the growth of a baby. We don't do anything to make it grow. It happens. In a matter of
yes, we do.
days, we see the growth of the child. It's not the same in a matter of 2 days, 1 week, 10 days. Like that. However, we have this ability to think and believe, which can work against it, which is where the problem begins, which we're going to talk about more in another episode of what our role is. But today, I think the point is, tell me if you would say this, Mr. Milan. The point is, when we know what not to do, that by itself is helpful.
Yeah, it
Okay.
definitely frees a lot of energy for one, a
Yes.
lot of space, inside
Yes.
space.
Yes.
Um, yes,
Yes. Actually, that's the point today. That's the
it's
point of this video. Okay.
it's even the opposite, and I think that's where we're going with this as well, because sometimes you hear, people who would say, submitting, surrendering. Surrendering is a better way of putting that to God is kind of an alienation, and it's actually the opposite. It's a liberation
Mm,
if you go with the divine design as you
yeah.
have described.
Yeah.
Um,
Alignment. And another word for that
Alignment,
could be
yeah,
alignment, isn't it? Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely.
Aligning so that you work with the divine design, like working with the gravity. That's how the flight works. That's how cars work. That's how we walk, etc., etc. Yes. Sorry. What were
Mhm.
you going to say, Smell? Sorry about.
No, thank you for expanding on the definition. Yeah, no, that's it. That's
Yeah.
it makes you freer rather than
Mm.
having to try and manage everything that's going on.
Exactly.
Because it's not only, I mean, you've talked about taking charge of our lives, but a lot of us are also trying to take charge of the world, the world we live,
I
right?
think I'm going to use the word innocently we do that. Yes. Innocently, we try to take charge of our life, we try to take charge of the world, and guess what? We struggle. We can't. It's not possible. Very
Exactly.
innocent to think that way. Okay? That this finger, it doesn't move because I want it to move. The next moment, it's possible that this can't move just because I want it to move. Okay, it's so this takes humility to see this is not complicated. It's very simple. It
Hmm.
takes humility to see when I don't step into things which is not my business, my job. Like what you beautifully said, it frees up a lot of space to do what I'm supposed to do because we have a role. Human beings have a role. And we'll talk about that in our next video. What's our role? But
Hmm.
today it's about when we suffer, when we are trying very, very hard. That just means we are trying to do either God's job or we're trying to
Hmm.
do somebody else's job. And we struggle. We don't have bandwidth to do our own job. It's not possible. We can only do one role. Either we can try to do God's role or we can do our role. Whether we can try to do others' role and we can do, or we can do our role. But it's not possible for us to do all three at the same time. There's only one space we have to do our job. That's our power space, which is in alignment. So today it's about just understanding what not to do, where not to step in, that alignment. Yeah, beautiful. I think that's a good place to pause.